Jingle bells, jingle all the way.
Can I go?
Yeah.
Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time of day you're watching or listening to this. This is the Let's Talk About It podcast.
American Road Trip Warriors, Season 2.
Definitely not that. But we are road tripping actually right now. And I figured we'd do something a little different. Like I said, it's our first car cast episode.
They're really here so they can hear more history and learn from me.
On Tillamook. We'll come back around to that.
It's nothing but clear skies and wide roads ahead, my friends.
Well,
welcome to Season 2 of American Road Trips.
Well, it's something that I wanted to do that's just a little different. Obviously, when I want to do a car cast episode, this is something fun, you know. So if you hear like the little wind-like sound in the background, it's
just remember that's the wind beneath your wings.
Sure, we'll go with that. But the day we're recording this, though, it is the day after our anniversary, babe.
Woo-hoo!
7 years.
I know.
How does it feel?
I can't look at you because you know I'm a safe driver.
Yes. Yes, you are. But now that it's been 7 years later, I just want to ask you. We're going to put you in the hot seat because normally, if you guys been following us for a while, normally Juby's on the show a lot, but she's the one that helps guide the conversation. By the way, you do a wonderful job doing that. But I feel like we would swap it up today. So I feel like today we should put her in the hot seat.
Oh, you're in for a treat,
and
my
you
friends.
guys want to hear from her. I talk too much anyway. So, all that being said, babe, just with it being the next day after our anniversary, how has life changed for you in the time that we have been married?
I mean, it's been 7 years, so a lot has changed. Of course, I've gotten older, gained a few pounds, gained a few more gray hairs.
Okay.
So I think the one thing I've like really learned is when people talk about like, oh, I didn't realize I could like or love this person more than I did the day I married them. I think like for me, I see that to be more true now, being on the other side. You know, it's just all like the appreciation for your partner grows, especially when you talk to people and you just realize, you know, you're in a healthy relationship. So like that part of it's becoming very like, you know, oh, so this is what people meant when they say that. So yeah, I'm learning to just kind of accept that not every relationship's going to look exactly the same. I know one of the things that we got a lot when we first got married was just wait. The first 2 years of marriage was the hardest. And I mean, to the point that it actually like had me in tears one day thinking like you and I were wrong for each other and we were doing marriage wrong because we weren't fighting all the time. And, you know, as people said we would be. So I remember, you know, Skyping you at the time and being like, I think something's wrong with our marriage. Like, I think we're doing marriage wrong.
I remember that.
But, you know, just realizing that sometimes, like, we've put a lot of work on the front end of this. And not to say that we're exempt from anything. Like, you know, we just read something earlier today about a 33-year-old marriage that's now going through divorce, you know. So, like, no one's exempt from anything, but just learning the work you do have to put in, the intentionality that you have to put into having healthy marriage. Because I know it's very easy because we have a friendship. Yeah. It's very easy for us to fall into like the friend stage or like the roommate stage, you know. So just staying very intentional in that.
So with that being said, what would you? And I'm truly asking, like, don't feel like you gotta protect me or us. What do you feel like was the most challenging or challenges about marriage?
Challenging about marriage? Not being selfish. Like you.
Unpack that.
So it's funny, I was talking to my hairdresser the other day when I was sitting in her chair, and I said, you always want to believe you're the best version of you at any point in life, you know, like, oh, I know best. I know, like, I am better than that person because X, Y, Z. So you always want to believe the best about yourself in how you perceive yourself. And I think when you come into marriage, you kind of have that same attitude, you know, like, oh, I'm not necessarily wrong, like, I'm healthy, I've done this, I've done that. But, like, you really learn, like, you're more selfish than you think you are.
Man, that's good. So like how relationships can kind of be the thing that pulls out both the best in you and sometimes maybe the worst, I guess.
Yeah,
in you.
and it truly is a mirror. It truly is a mirror. Like, you think like, oh, I'm about to show you who you are. Like, I've already come with the best package available, and realizing like, no, actually, you might be the problem. Like,
who were we listening to? It was with Jeremy Foster. It was a black pastor, but he was talking about relationships and marriages.
Yeah.
You remember his name?
I do not. Chandler Moore. Let's go with it.
It wasn't Chandler Moore. It was on Maverick City, babe. By the way, he is also a gifted speaker as much as a great singer he is too. But he was basically saying that how, like, oftentimes when you get to disagreements or arguments, you think you're arguing against your spouse, but you're actually arguing against yourself.
Yeah.
Because what he was talking about is saying oftentimes it's revealing something that's in you that maybe you haven't dealt with.
Yeah.
This doesn't mean that there's no ownership from, you know, the person that you may be in a disagreement with, but his point was just saying that oftentimes those disagreements and arguments is revealing something that actually might be in you that you haven't dealt with. So, no, that's good.
I feel like I should look our audience right in the eye. I see you.
You can just look at him right there.
Okay, well, I have to look at
a
the
little
road.
green light. That's good, babe. Okay, well, with that being said, what has maybe been the most rewarding thing about marriage? By the way, I promise this is not a podcast about marriage. I promise we'll get into some other things. But
he just wants to hear about himself and how great of a husband he is.
No, I am trying to unpack some things we've done well and things that we're still learning and growing in for other people.
The most rewarding thing in marriage, it's kind of goes back to the most challenging thing. It is like a learning about yourself thing. You really do get to know who you are, who your partner is. And like, man, I did make the right choices in picking the partner that I did. You know, it's a true, like, it truly is like a mirror. It shows you the best and worst of you, you know? So it is a great growing opportunity for, you know, folks who are married. Like, it's marriage grows you, it refines you in a way that other relationships don't, because you get to take a break from other relationships.
Oh wow, that's really good though.
Like, I can say, like, at the end of the night, I can say goodnight to my friends and come home and get in my jammies and, you know, take off, like, whatever, you know, like, may it be Happy Juby, may it be whomever I am that day, I get to take that off. But when you are with your spouse, you don't get to take that off. Like, who you are is who you are, and they see you in your best and your worst. So you don't get to, like, take a break from your marriage, and, you know, not grow.
If someone is, for those who are watching, listening, that are single, what encouragement and feedback would you give them in this season of life? Because I think it's very common. I think both the world, whether it's, you know, the secular world and Christians, have painted, you know, marriage being the goal. You know, like, that's the ultimate thing to, that's the ultimate achievement of success. And of course, you and I don't believe that. Marriage is a gift, but also singleness is a gift. What encouragement or challenges or words of advice or feedback would you give to people who are single?
If you're bankrupt in your soul, marriage is not going to fix that.
Hold up. Time out. Say that again. If you're bankrupt in your soul.
Yeah, like, in whatever soul area. So may it be your emotions, may it be your identity. If there are areas in your life that you're bankrupt, being married won't fix it. If anything, marriage will amplify it, and it might drive you to madness, honestly. So get to know who you are, get to know the things you like, get to know, like, have dinner with yourself, go to the movies with yourself. There's just so much you can do to get to know who you are, to deal with trauma. If you have trauma in your life, even if you don't think you have trauma, if you're just like, no, that was just normal life, go see a counselor. They might tell you otherwise. There are trained professionals out there that can tell you exactly who you are. So your bankruptcy cannot be like undone in marriage. It has to be a self-work that is done in your singleness. And there's a lot to learn in your singleness. Yes, there's going to be hard nights. Like when I was single, there were times I was just like, oh, it would have been cool if I was out with someone right now. But those are also the nights that I got to spend, you know, getting to know me and getting to know my friends, and just don't think marriage is going to fix it all. Being in a relationship is not going to fix it all if just, yeah.
No, man, that's really good. I appreciate that. Switching topics, kind of coming off of the topic of relationships and marriage. If money wasn't a factor, what do you think you'd be doing with your time right now?
Oh, I mean, I've told you this before. I would definitely take one whole year, 365 days, and eat, pray, love around the world. Like, you think it?
What are some spots you want to go to? Like, just throw them out.
Man, where don't I want to go? I mean, there's the usual, like Thailand, Greece, you know, but I want to go to those places that you don't even know that existed on the map. There's just so much world out there and so much cultures that you don't know about, and so I would ideally love to take a year and travel and learn about people, learn about their culture, of course eat great food.
Is that the biggest reason why you would want to do it, is for the culture and the people piece?
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Why is that something that's so important for you?
I love learning about other people. I love knowing that my life is like bigger than the, you know, zip code I live in, because it's very easy to get caught up in your everyday life, but knowing there's like a whole world that exists outside of you, and there is just way that people do things, and just, I don't know, that's always been fascinating to me, like how people with very little are so innovative, and just sitting down with them and talking to them, you know, and how innovation comes out of necessity. So I don't know, I love all that.
Innovation comes out of necessity. I really, really like that. What some people would be listening and watching this and going, okay, well, Julie, I can watch a movie or a documentary on, you know, another country or another culture and learn, which is true. Why would you say, or what makes it so different to actually be there physically instead of just watching it from the comfort of our home or even listening to it? And again, I'm not knocking at it. We do that.
Yeah.
But what makes it just all the more impactful to be there in person?
I mean, if I say I want to play for the WNBA, but say like I can also watch a game, it's not the same. You know, yeah, you're right. I can get the experience of watching a game, you know, by like watching it on the TV, but there's nothing like going out there and putting myself in a position where, like, you know what the sting of rejection feels like, or what it is to run around in the court. So, like, yes. And also, the thing with documentaries is it is all based on someone's opinion and their vision of
their
things.
Perspective.
Yeah.
Instead of you getting it for yourself.
Right. I don't knock documentaries. In fact, I love documentaries. You know, that's something you know about me. I watch documentaries.
You're the reason why I do watch documentaries.
Right.
Now.
I love documentaries, but I also have to keep the perspective. This documentary is made out of someone else's perspective and their biases even. So,
whether it's intentional or unintentional.
Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, we all do it in life. We all have biases in life, you know. For example, I have the cutest nieces on planet Earth. Just, I can't help it. It's what's happening in my life. It's the reality. And I will always just move forward in life with that bias. So I think that's the same thing with documentaries. I appreciate them. It gives me another look into situations that I've been curious about. But it may not necessarily fulfill all my questions.
You know what, we were talking just before we started recording, somehow we were just talking about, we were talking about like mission trips, and, you know, you've been to Bolivia, grew up in India, you know, the first third of your life. I did Afghanistan. But I remember I was just sharing with you how there is something though, just when you experience it, you know, I'm fourth generation military.
Yeah.
You know, so we've all, you know, we see the news and hear the news. Of course, there's movies out, you know, on war and whatnot. But like I said, same thing. Until you go out and do it, there's nothing like it. So I just want to back up. One, I love the idea of traveling for a while. Take me with you. But no, I think it's so great. I think one of the greatest ways to learn in life is to get outside of your context. No matter like where you grew up in. So if you grew up overseas, you grew up in New York City, Chicago, or you grew up in rural, you know, whatever. But whatever spot you're used to growing up in, if you spend the last 10, 15, 20 years there, for sure, like when's the last time you just immerse yourself in a whole nother culture?
Yeah.
That's when those big learning experiences come out. That's good. All right, we're going to shift a little bit again. You ready? What do people misunderstand most about you?
Oh, my sense of humor.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so there's a couple of things. Like one I've just gotten since I was a preteen. And so like that's the furthest memory I can go back to is when people say like, oh, I thought you were intimidating until I spoke to you. Or like, I don't know if I could keep a conversation with you. So like most people when they meet me, they find me very intimidating or like, I guess even unfriendly, like that I'm just all business. So that's like one of the biggest misconception. Like I know one of my bridesmaids even thought that. She's like, oh my gosh, you were just very intimidating at first. And then after the first conversation, it's like, oh, she's normal.
Yeah.
And the other for sure, this is the one that gets me in trouble the most. It's my sense of humor.
Why does your sense of humor get you in trouble the most?
Because people just don't understand it. Like it is so beyond today's time and age. It transcends time. And most times when I say something, people take me so seriously, and I'm
you
just
say it with such confidence. The thing that blows me away is even before we got married, even before we got together, like I know when you're just full of it. But for whatever reason, the rest of the room believes it with full confidence. I'm like, how? I don't get it. I don't understand it at all. Oh my goodness.
I've literally had a professor tell me in college after he corrected me on something while I was speaking. And he'd said, you know, I almost didn't correct you because you were so confident when you were wrong. And I was just all like, well. You know. So yeah, my sense of humor gets me in trouble quite often. And I think it's, and I try to come across soft when I meet people for the first time. But for whatever reason, there's something that just, people are like, oh, she's very intimidating.
So what is your favorite thing about yourself and why?
Oh, it's my sense of humor.
So the same thing that people misunderstand about you. It's the same thing that's your favorite thing about yourself.
I love my sense of humor. Like, if no one else in the room is laughing, you can bet that I'm laughing.
That's a fact. You laugh at yourself with full confidence, even if no one else is.
Yeah, I am my own personal comedic relief. And here's the thing. Most of the things you hear, there's 98% that's things that's going on in my head that you haven't even heard yet, that I keep to myself, and it takes every ounce of energy I have within me to not say it out loud. I remember one time I was sitting in a meeting and I was sitting in a corner just typing away, and my boss just looked at me and he was just like under his breath, he's like, what are you laughing about? I'm just you don't want me to say this out loud. I'm just filtering right now. And he was just like, I'm proud of you. And I'm just like, thank you. Because he knows sometimes I say really off the wall things.
The struggle is real.
So real. But I love my sense of humor.
Yeah.
About myself. Yeah.
What's something surprising that you have currently been learning about yourself?
I think I'm okay with crying.
I would fully agree with that.
Yeah,
you've been given permission yourself to do that more often.
Yeah, so I always say I I'm not in touch with my emotions, and I don't like emotions. And I think the conclusion I came to it is just not that I don't have those emotions, or it's not that, well, I am a little uncomfortable with it.
So unpack that, because I'm sure there's people who are watching, listening right now that share that same challenge.
Yeah.
Yep. There's a lot of, heck, I would argue, I mean, we've been serving now with the church staff. You just hit 5. I'm doing 4.5. In the short time that we've been serving, it's more common, I'm realizing, more people like to bury their emotions. They don't want to deal with it. So I'm sure more people who are watching, listen to this right now, probably relate with you more than myself.
Yeah.
So talk about the freedom you've been finding in that, and why other people should experience that as well, I guess.
Well, I was going to say, I don't know if I've necessarily found freedom. I think I'm on my way to finding freedom. And it really is hard because I feel like I need to have a hard, tough shell. And, in so many forms, I am a survivalist, So being part of that is I need to have a tough exterior. Oh, now I see why y'all think I'm intimidating.
I promise that was not my intent, y'all. We just talking, having a conversation.
So I do find that that's one of the ways I protect myself is by not showing too much emotion, because I'm not going to be taken out of the running because I'm a female and I'm too emotional. That's just one of my mindsets. I didn't really grow up in a household full of emotions, which is very normal in the Asian culture, We don't really show emotions, we just do. But I'm slowly, like in snail pace, I'm learning that it is okay to show, a little bit
Sorry, our van was being weird in front of us, y'all.
Emotion, because it gives others to soften their edges as well, that they think they're like, I need to be tough as well. So when you start softening yourself up, people around you will start doing the same thing. And honestly, like, I can't run this race on someone else's potential thoughts of my emotion.
Wow.
It'll be like that hamster, or is it a guinea pig that just runs
both.
in the, okay.
You're right.
Well, both rodents.
You're right.
That's nothing new. I can't base, and I'm just learning this. I literally just can't base my life on someone else's validation of my emotion. Because if I do, I'll be waiting forever, because there's always going to be someone who's uncomfortable with me or how I feel, or just don't agree. Like, they may not agree that tears were called for that situation, or the righteous anger was called for that situation. So
you would say the takeaway then is it's okay to give yourself permission to be comfortable in the emotion.
Yeah.
Whether it comes out in crying, whether it comes out and I just need to be in a moment to myself.
Yeah.
Is that safe to say?
Yeah.
I know you said you have not officially gotten the freedom, but you're on your journey to it.
Yeah.
What is that? How has that felt for you so far?
I hate it.
You hate it. Why do you hate it?
Because you're unpacking all these things that you've tried so hard to bury for years. And it's physically exhausting to have to undo and unlearn behaviors. So,
as much as you hate it, what has been the benefit of it?
I think I've had richer relationship. I've found safe people that I can be myself around the most. And it's not going to happen with everyone, and I'm well aware of it. Like, I've told you, most of my guy friends are like brothers to me, but there's some people I just can't relate to on that brotherly level, and I'm just like, we're just not connecting. So I think that's the same thing with finding safety in your emotions as well. You're going to have to find safe people, and it's not going to be, it may not be 100 folks, but if you have 2 people or 1 person that understands that, and you can be your whole self around them, then that's a win, you know.
And I think that's the goal, because I think it's easy for people to hear this and go, well, I don't have 100 people or 50 people, and I would say that's not the point. The point is, though, you do need to have a handful of people.
Yeah.
Something I've always liked that Chris Hodges said. He said, if you're the only one that knows your secrets, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And then it kind of continued on with this thought of not everyone has to know your business, but there should be someone, or at least a couple series of someones that knows your business. So if you have 10 different challenges, even the example he gave is not one person has to know all 10, but you got to have at least one person that knows the first 3, a second person that knows 4 through 7, and a third person that knows, like, someone has to know everything about it. Yeah. So I just, I appreciate you sharing. I appreciate the challenge of just helping all of us remind us, like, what are the relationships we have.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of goes back to 100 pennies, 10 dimes, and 4 quarters all have the same value, just in different formats, So it ends up being the exact same thing, just in different formats.
No, that's good. The other thing too, it's a reminder. I know for me, I think so many times because a lot of the time about relationships and community, I think so many times we as people, we wait for it just to happen.
Yeah.
And so many of us are struggling in our emotion, our challenges, our brokenness, because we're waiting for someone to just come alongside and pick us up with it, when it's like, well, 2 things. One, you have to be intentional and reach out to people.
Yeah.
And the second thing is, I would argue that people have actually had people that have reached out to them, but they won't take the invite, or they won't accept the invite.
Yeah.
So I just want to say, as an encouragement, really as a challenge to everybody, if you want to have those relationships, what are you doing to work at those relationships? I mean,
and it's going to take time to get comfortable.
Right.
Like the people that I am myself the most around, I remember when I started, presenting me, there were so many times I felt like I had to apologize, and I did. I would text them, like, I'm so sorry, like, I said this, I'm so sorry that's the emotion that came out of that conversation. And now it's just gotten to a point where, like, if I'm about to pull out my phone to apologize to them, and I'm just like, you know what, they know you well enough that you don't need to apologize to them. So it may even start out that way, where you feel the need to apologize for, what you feel and how you presented it, but, like, work up your way to where you can say, like, you know what, I trust this person enough to know that I don't have to explain myself. They know me well enough to know that it's not coming from a place of maliciousness, or just,
So people that give you space and grace to be you, yet will appropriately hold you accountable at the right time, with the intent of pushing you forward because they love you.
Right.
That's good. When it's all said and done, because of course one day we're all going to pass and fly away.
Oh, fly away.
I was waiting for it.
Oh, fly away. When I die, hallelujah, bye. I'll fly away.
So
I had to do one of my impressions. Sorry.
So when you do fly away to be with the Lord, how do you want to be remembered? Like, it's your funeral, it's your memorial.
Well, first of all, can we just acknowledge, when I fly away, I finally would have gotten use out of my aviation degree.
Oh, snap.
There's the big one there.
At the end of your life later.
Yes, absolutely. Man, how do I want to be remembered?
Yeah, like when people come up and they start giving their speeches, Gibby was fill in the blank, or they have the eulogies and everything. Yeah, how do you want to be remembered?
Yeah. So there's the superficial things.
Okay.
Great sense of humor. Best dressed.
Hey.
Smell great.
All true.
Well, best dressed, it's once in a blue moon, but I want to be known for, or I want to be remembered as someone who was herself, but also was very kind. Despite, again, I understand I present a tough exterior, that despite that, I was still loving and I was kind. That I looked people in the eyes when they spoke to me, that I was intentional with their time, and I helped propel someone into something, maybe their next steps, whatever. I hope I'm remembered as the person who, despite their insecurities and their feelings of lacking things, that they were able to help propel people forward.
That's good, man.
That's all I can remember right now. But if I think of anything else, I'll be sure to write a list and email it to every single one of y'all.
Oh, that's good.
Also, best singer. Oh,
it's all right.
My bad.
No, you're good.
Best singer.
Best singer. I think Aaron and Alyssa can help with that.
Yeah.
What's one of the most valuable lessons that you've learned in life?
Man, that's a long time.
It could be a couple. It doesn't have to just be one. Be sporadic. Just.
Dude. What is the most valuable thing I've learned in life?
Or valuable things.
Oof. I feel like there's a lot.
Well, how about this? The ones that just come off the top of your head.
You're gonna have to edit this part out for the.
Don't worry about it. Just
the
keep
long
going.
time I'm
Keep
taking
going.
to
Keep going.
answer this question. Valuable thing I've learned in life. Valuable thing I've learned in life.
There's something in your head. I know there is. You just won't say it. Just say it.
No, literally, my brain is so blank right now.
I can hop in for a little bit then. We were talking about it this morning when we woke up. I think we're just talking about conversations, just how as Christians, like the things you learn, on your journey in life. One of the things that I'm thankful for, just in the church that we've been in, Life Point, underneath Pastor Mike's teachings. I've grown up a Christian, my whole life, and I've never heard, I guess, someone just say out loud, as Christians, how are you aligning your life with the Bible? And what he really meant was, do you live your life in a way that's bibliocentric?
Yeah.
And so what he was basically saying is, we don't get opinions anymore. Your opinion is led by the Bible. Now, for those who aren't Christians, you may not be, because you're not a Christian, you may not believe in the Bible, but what do you have that grounds you to make decisions in life? And so for me, it just reminded me of like, if I say I'm a follower of Jesus, does everything I say, does everything I do, does everything I post actually fall in line with that?
Yeah.
And so that's been a huge gut check for me. And so the cool thing is, now being in the chaplain corps, of course, I meet with people of different religions and faith backgrounds. And so I enjoy the challenge of meeting people who may not believe in the scriptures. When they don't, I just ask them the simple question of, so what angers you?
Yeah.
And if they don't have an answer for that, well, then it's no wonder why life can be challenging. Why are you smiling?
I'm sorry. I don't know if you realize your voice went into podcast voice.
It
when
did?
You answered, yeah.
I wasn't trying to.
I'm Mark Ben. Hi, I'm Mark Ben. This is my answer.
Oh my gosh. Oh goodness. See, now you got me all self-conscious about it.
And also, I saw two people walking down the side of the road, and I'm pretty sure one of them had a chicken mask on, hence the face I just made.
So like Chick-fil-A mask?
No, like literally like a rubber chicken mask.
It's super random.
So
we totally
random.
got off topic just now.
Yeah.
But it's okay. But for real, so I know for me, that's one of the most valuable lessons I've learned in my life. So so if you're a Christian, I would challenge you with, do you actually follow your life in a way that is bibliocentric or that's Christocentric? That do you believe, do you say, do you post and do what you do because it's in alignment with the Bible? And if you're not, my encouragement to you is, well, then what's the thing that anchors you? And whatever that thing is, do you stay true to that then? Yeah. So I know that's something for me.
I was going to say, if you're not Christian, one of the most valuable things I have learned in life is, no matter where you've come from, no matter what you've been taught, no matter what kind of life you've had, if you're not happy with it, you have the permission to change it.
Wow.
And you don't have to stay in what mom and dad taught you, and that's just what our families been doing for ages. As much as I love culture, like that's the downside of culture is, well, this is what we've always done.
So as life-giving, experiencing different cultures can be, it could also be the thing that many people are struggling with that's taken away from their life because it's shaped them in a way that can be limiting.
Yeah, I mean, earlier today we were talking about driving in other countries, and it actually, like, I had a flashback to the time where I saw a female driver for the very first time. I was probably like 7 or 8 years old, and mind you, this is like in the 90s. It's not like in the 1800s. And I just remember just being like, whoa, we don't, like, I've never seen that, you know, I've never seen a woman driver drive herself, you know, like, especially growing up in India, like, if you're well-to-do, you have a driver for you, you know, and I'm just like, okay, I've seen drivers drive people, but I've never seen a woman drive herself, and it really challenged everything I've known and seen in life, you know. But I can almost tell you, if I were to go back to that exact same place, a lot of people would still have that exact same mindset, like women really shouldn't be driving themselves, you know. But yeah, I think it's one of the most valuable things I have learned and I'm learning is just because it happened doesn't mean it has to be that way. So give yourself permission to experience something other than what you've known. Yeah.
This might tie into something you just said, or maybe something you said today, but you have a billboard, you know where I'm going with this, and you can put whatever message you want for the whole world to see. What are you putting on the billboard?
I'm gonna steal someone's answer.
That's fine.
And also my Enneagram 5 side. Freaking learn how to use a Google. Stop your repost ministry of wrong facts and learn how to Google stuff.
So unpack that a little more. Like what's the importance of that message for you? Like why is that so passionate for you?
Well, I think it's like I'll go through social media and I'll see something and it'll immediately catch, you know, my attention. I think one of them was Betty White is dead, and I'm just like, what? Betty? So instead of reposting it, I had to go and like actually check some legit sources to be like, wait, is Betty White really dead? No, the girl is still alive and kicking. We'll be soon celebrating her 100th birthday, you know. So you look foolish when you don't do the work.
So like a lot of people lead and have an opinion on something without actually doing the full homework basically of it, or knowing the history behind whatever it is that statement or stance is made. Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. Is there any question you wish I'd asked you that I hadn't asked you that you'd want to share with our listeners?
Well, I am surprised you haven't asked me for a history lesson about the American road trips. Honestly.
Oh my goodness. So, story time. So last time we did this road trip, I had recorded a video. Some of you guys who follow us on Instagram saw this story, but Juby, we had a Tillamook beef jerky, right?
Yeah.
That was the name of the company. And so Juby made up this whole story on the fly. I'm recording it, you know, on our Insta story. And she said, what did you say? What was the story basically?
So Tillamook is a family that came here from Ireland in the 1800s. And of course they didn't have refrigeration and things like that. So I don't know why you're laughing during my history lesson. So they had to learn how to preserve food, right? So the way they learned how to preserve food is by burying it deep underground. So the way they got their name, so before they moved here from Ireland, their name wasn't Tillamook. But the way they got their name is literally because they were mud diggers. They tilla the muck. So that's how the last name Tillamook came about, because they were mud diggers and they were preserving their food. But today's fun fact was actually going to be about Toyota. So have you ever wondered why you see so many Toyotas on road trips? You know, you think gas efficiency and all of that. But as you know, Toyota is a Japanese brand. And when you take the word Toyota, it literally translates to you as I am, Toyota. What? What is so funny? So essentially, what they really wanted to say was, in this world is very unkind. So as I am kind to you on this road, you are to me. To you as I am. Toyota. So that's how Toyota became the ultimate American road trip car. And that's my fun fact for today.
Oh my gosh. Ladies and gentlemen, my wife, Juby Lila Benson.
Don't be giving my full name away. They could use that for a security question.
All right, last question, and we'll wrap it up after this. You're sitting down, you're hosting dinner. You can have any 5 people, dead or alive, in the world at this dinner. Who are you inviting to the table?
My grandfathers, both of them.
So does that take up 2 slots then?
They do.
Okay.
Yep. I've never had I don't have any memories with them. They both passed away about 5 or 6 weeks away from each other.
Okay.
So I was 4 years old when my dad's grandfather passed away, and then I turned 5 and the other grandfather passed away like a couple of weeks after that. So I don't really remember them. The only memory I have of literally is their funeral. So I would love to sit down and talk to them and just get to know family stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The Obamas.
Okay.
Well, Michelle, or I can stay home.
Okay. So that's 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ellen DeGeneres.
Okay.
I just find her funny, man.
Mm-hmm.
And also she's got sweet dance moves.
Okay. And one more.
How many is that? 4?
Yep, that's 4.
Oh dang, I only have one more. I better choose carefully.
Well, while you're thinking through the 5th, let me go back a little bit. You said a little bit about your grandfathers. What more would you want to gain from your grandfathers when sitting down with that, having that dinner with them?
I think there is a lot of false narratives that have been come my way as an adult, and I would just like to know
regarding family dynamics.
Yeah, regarding family dynamics and things like that. And I just want to know. I just want to know what kind of people they were. Mm-hmm. You know, here's the thing: when you die, people are going to talk. Most people will talk greatly about you. You know,
mm-hmm.
And I just everything I've heard about them have been great so far.
Mm-hmm.
You know, no one's ever said oh, they were shady or whatever, but I would just like to experience that for myself.
Yeah.
You know, and just get to know our family and our family history, and maybe we make a family tree.
Yeah.
So.
And why Michelle Obama?
I just like her. I think she's classy. Love the way she dresses. I don't know, there's been times, again, this is not an endorsement for any political party.
Yeah. I like how Aaron McManus said it when he said, I wasn't someone, he's publicly said this, so he said, I didn't agree with Obama as president, but I like him as a person.
Right, so I'm inviting the person, not the,
the politics.
Politics.
Right. I got
so
you.
I've watched her in some tough situations, I've seen her in interviews, and I just know how I would react at some of the things that were flung at her.
Mm-hmm.
And
so her poise and her
and
control.
how she's just dealt with that, and
her ability to deal with criticism is impeccable.
Yeah, she never slung mud back at people who slung mud at her, and I think that's...
What was she known for, the statement?
When they go low, you go
high.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, that's good.
And
okay.
so,
and then why Ellen?
I need comedic relief.
Yeah.
You know what? Randy Pearson will be my 5th person.
Hey, Randy, you heard it yourself. Randy Pearson. Come on.
Yes.
I call him Pete Rand. I love Pastor Randy and Melissa. They're awesome.
Yeah.
Man.
He understands my sick sense of humor.
You and Pastor Randy are 2 peas in a pod. Pastor Randy is off the
He gives me so much hope that one day I too can be a normal adult.
For those who don't know who Pastor Randy is, he's in his 50s, and he's amazing. Pastor Randy, he's like the guy we go to anytime we have theological questions too. Very wise, but
or need to cry our eyes out.
Yeah, or cry your eyes out.
If that ever happens.
Very smart too, but yeah, Pastor Randy, and he's hilarious. You guys have the same sense of humor.
We do.
You guys.
We have very similar sense of humor.
Dark, dry sometimes. That's good. Well, there you have it, folks. Just a nice little sporadic, fun moment. Thank you.
And don't forget, Toyota.
Hey, for real, if you guys are enjoying this, go ahead and post a review for me. That would be amazing. MarkKBentonII.com. And then you can also do it on Apple Podcasts. I think you can do it on Spotify. I'm not sure. I haven't seen that feature on there. But Apple Podcasts or MarkKBentonII.com. You can also send me a voicemail on there if you want to leave a message or anything like that. And then tag me at MarkKBenton2 on Instagram. And I also have a Facebook group. You're more welcome to be a part of that. I'll leave a link to all of that in the comments below. But we love you guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And what do we say?
Grace and peace.
Hey, yo.